Welcome back, fellow shop rats. Today it's raining out, and I was planning on spraying the $500 paint job truck, but with this water-based paint, it's different than solvent-based, and I don't dare spray it on a day when the humidity is this high. So we're going to shift gears and go on to something else that I've been thinking about for a while. We're going to talk about shop organization. Now, I know this isn't the most exciting topic in the world, but if you've been around the channel for any length of time, you know this is something that I struggle with, and I've been sharing my own journey of what I'm learning along the way. So let's get into it. I'm Mike.
This is My Cars Shop.
One of the things that I really try to do is not only share the things that I know, but also share the things that I'm learning. If you've been around the channel for any length of time, you know that shop organization and cleanliness is something that I really struggle with. And the number one factor in that usually is just plain and simply time. I mean, basically, I work three jobs. I run my technology business. We do 3 episodes a week here on YouTube, which is a choice, and I know, but I'm also responsible for a rock band that is constantly turning out music, and I do the bulk of the recording as well as all the sound engineering and a lot of the marketing and promotion for that as well. So I'm very busy. Now, if you were to follow me around in my daily life, you may not think that's the case, but so much of my job is either talking on the phone or it is mental exercise and thinking things through and stuff like that. And of course, there's tons of time spent editing videos as well as sitting in the sound room in the studio mixing music or recording or whatever. But the point of all of that is a lot of times when I get out here to work on something, I get after it, boom, and I've got someplace else I have to be or something else I have to be doing. And so things just get dropped. And the next time I come out, I may pick up that project and get on with it, or I may be deciding to work on something else, or maybe need to work on something else. And so that happens. And then often I have to get somewhere else, and that gets dropped. And before long, we've got a lot of droppings all over the shop. Now, I know that this is not necessarily an issue for everybody, but I think it's an issue for more people than we realize. And I think many times we feel very alone, like, well, I'm just a pig and that's just the way it is. And we kind of develop a defeatist attitude. I know certainly that has been my thing. I've always taken the attitude that I can have a clean shop as long as I don't ever work in it. But I'm starting to rethink that. It's something that I'm realizing that, I can make progress on something if I start changing my attitude about that thing. For one thing, I enjoy coming out here, and although I don't enjoy this area over here as much, I do have the back workbench straightened up. Um, it's much more enjoyable to come out and see a neat and organized space. But if I have something I need to do, like I said, I dive into it and then I've got to be on to something else, and it's easy for things to get left cluttered. So, what I'm trying to do is make it easier to maintain things by having better organization, everything having a place, everything being in its place. But let's face it, not everything does have a place, and not everything can be in that place, because sometimes, like over here, we have a table full of paint products that we're using for this $500 paint job. So I'm constantly thinking through ways that I can streamline and make things more efficient and make things appear neater and tidier, even if they aren't necessarily as neat and tidy as they may first appear. Because if you feel good about the place, you're much more likely to maintain it. So let's go through some things here that I've been learning and applying. I'm going to be working on the lathe area today because this is one of my favorite areas in the shop, but right now it is also one of the most cluttered areas in the shop. And one of the first things that I want to do when I look at a place like this is, let's look at the trash. If you deal with the trash, you're going to make a big dent in what happens here moving forward. So let me bring you over here and just kind of walk through what's here, and we'll talk about each little thing, not each little thing, but some of the things that are here and how I'll approach cleaning this area up. If I do a quick look through, I can tell you what a lot of this stuff is. We have screws here from a project that we were doing on the Oakland. We have a vice jaw here from a project when we were making that vice jaw. We've got tools from the last time Dad was here working on the Oakland. We have a stone here from a little project that I shared on Facebook about taking a stone and grinding it down to make a chainsaw sharpener because I didn't have one and every place was closed on Thanksgiving Day. I have the camshaft for the Golden Mullet, a couple of other cams, all kinds of sandpaper, paper towels, lots of tools. And then we get over into this area, which I consider to be part of the lathe because a lot of my turning tools and stuff are in that toolbox. That also needs to be dealt with today. So there's a lot of things here, but the first thing I want to do is just go through and look at what's here and sort that out. So there's a lot of paper towels, there's a lot of trash. A lot of this emery paper is not trash, but it's not really put in a place where it's kind of organized because I do reuse that stuff a lot. Um, so that's the first thing I want to do is just go through and deal with trash. It's amazing just what dealing with the trash, with the improvement that can make. Like this I don't know what this is. Um, oh, it's the receipt. It's not even the receipt. It's the shipping invoice from the paint for that $500 paint job. We have lots of blue towels here. Now, in my defense, I didn't throw these away because I was running out and I was reusing these things way more than I normally would. So that's that. What do we have here? Wiper linkage bushing instructions. That was from a project we did on scoops. I have a little dormant package, which is from those. Matter of fact, I need that number because I got to get some more. Scoops wipers broke in another spot. I was going to throw that out. I'll just hang it on a hook for now. I've got some Oakland stuff here. I know where that goes. I just got a crate here that I'm going to throw stuff in that I can deal with. There's more Oakland stuff that just got set here when we did that oil leak job. More trash. I think this is more trash. So as I'm just going through here and picking up the trash and kind of moving things around that aren't trash, right now I'm just putting those pieces of emery paper that I will reuse just up on the shelf. I may move those again. I try not to handle things more than once, but sometimes it's just getting things out of the way so you can see what you have here. Brand new copper line from the Oakland project. Stuff like that. So I don't see a whole lot of other trash here right now. I'll go through that a little bit more in depth, but everything there for the most part looks like now it's stuff to be dealt with. So I'll go throw the trash out. We'll come back for round two. Round two, step two, is what I call the simple stuff. Okay, what belongs here and what does not? What do I know has a place and what do I know does not? So in dealing with the simple stuff, it's basically taking the stuff that I know has a place and putting it in its place. Now, you've been with me through some of this before, like there's a lot of tools and equipment. Some tools go back there, some tools go over there, some of the stuff goes back in the body shop area. But when I know where something goes, like there's a package of screws here, those are supposed to go in the drawer down there. One by one, I will just take those things, gather up a handful, take them to the area where they belong, and put them away. So let me get that done, and then we'll come back. So here's what I've got right now. This goes back in a drawer back there with all of my bits and pieces. My tray still needs a little bit of cleaning up, and I got some other stuff down here that I missed. I got to deal with that gauge. I don't really have a home for that, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But each one of these things I know has a place. Actually, this pen stays here, and so we're going to. I'm not going to take you through all of that, but I'm going to put each one of these things away now. And now that I have them all in one pile, it's quick for me to know, look at something, go, okay, that goes in the toolbox, that goes on the wall, that goes in the toolbox, that goes in the toolbox, that goes in the toolbox, that's the toolbox, that goes on the wall, toolbox, etc., etc. I know where I have a place for each one of those things, and that's the biggest thing that I have learned in organization. And my biggest downfall is when something has a place, it doesn't take long to get things organized and put them back in their place. My biggest problem is I have a lot of stuff in the shop, like here, for example, that we'll go through in a minute. I don't necessarily have a place for it. And that's where things just get left out because I don't know what to do with them. And there we go. I'm in the middle of this, and I just got an email from my partner in the band with some artwork proposals for our Fistmas song that's coming out here in a week or so. And like any of those, so we had to go back and forth on that. He's going to dive into the archives and see what other artwork we can come up with to find something that's really going to be a potential good marketing album cover for this single that's coming out. But anyway, back to this. So I've got it pretty much narrowed down to this tool belongs with the lathe, so that can go up here on the shelf. Whoop. I've been thinking through ways that I can organize that shelf better, but for now it's fine. I got 3 camshafts there that I've been working on. I'll probably leave those here for now. I have my soldering spatula wooden handle thing that I use for a lot of different things. A wire that I forgot to put away, a test wire, and a gauge. So I want to get those things dealt with. But anything that I don't know what to do with, big picture, would go down here in this tote. So I've got a few things in there. Those are things I'll need to make decisions about later. I don't want to get bogged down in that right now because look at all the progress I've already made on the lathe, and we're going to be moving here next. We're going to take the same approach, get rid of the trash, put away the simple stuff, and then move on to the next level. So I'm going to move into that and get this area started, and we'll be back when I move further forward, Father. Dealt with the trash, and I dealt with all the low-hanging fruit stuff. In other words, the simple stuff that had a place. Oops, I forgot to put these away. I'll do that. But now I have stuff here I'm not sure what to do with. Actually, this goes in a tote in the back room. We have an Oakland water pump, and we have a Challenger heater control off of a rally dash that I'm not going to use. We have a or maybe I am, I don't know. We have an ashtray from a Challenger, and then down here we also have an instrument cluster. We have the intake for scoops, and one of the biggest fans on the channel is there also. So got paint here to deal with. So I'm getting down to it now. It's just a matter of things that I need to make decisions. This goes back in the body shop area. Um, So that's what this tote is for, is I've already put a few things in there, and there's a few other things I'm probably going to put in there that won't get damaged, like this ashtray. I'm just not sure what to do with that stuff yet. So good place for it. Oh, I missed some trash. Got a bunch of bent nails here to deal with. So I'm going to take this next level, put a couple things away that I know where they go, put this in the tote. Also, we're going to be doing that project soon, maybe even tomorrow. But for the most part, I'm trying to keep my pneumatic tools here. I do have a couple other tools in there right now. I got a VCR. I need to put that somewhere else, but we're making progress. Here's my point. And there we go. Didn't actually take a whole lot of time. Just took effort to get at it. And yeah, there's things that need to be better. One of the things that I'm realizing, I got to get the blowgun out, blow some dust off, but some of my battery stuff is supposed to go back here, so I need to move that around. But visually and emotionally, that area feels so much better the way that it is. Even little things like my toolbox not being shut properly can be quickly addressed. Get that. There we go. So, little bites make a difference. Obviously, I've got a mess over here to deal with. Let's deal with that. I feel in the mood. A couple things here worth talking about. So, yeah, these earbuds I just keep here in the shop to listen to music or whatever. They don't work anymore as far as speaking, so I just keep them hanging wherever. I bought these pool noodles to put on my fender stands because some of them are getting bad. So they've been sitting here forever, and I haven't needed them on the fender stands. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them over to the hooks where I hang the fender stands and just put them up there so they're with the fender stands for when I'm ready to use them. Some other stuff that's here is the tunnel ram for the big block for the golden mullet. That's fine there for now. That needs a lot of work and cleanup and so forth. But a buddy of mine dropped off. He was cleaning out his garage. He's just downsizing a lot, and he used to race a lot. And he brought up like a fan shroud that was in his garage. He knew that I could use. He didn't want anymore, and he just wants the stuff out of his shop. He brought me these bar clamps, which are very nice and going to be very handy. I hadn't decided where I was going to put those yet. I hadn't made a space for them. I hadn't made a place for them. But I just decided that I'm going to put a couple screws in the wall and hang those here. So those have a permanent home. This piece of foam actually belongs over here because it's one I used to plug a hole in the wall where the garage door latch is. So 5 minutes, this area is cleaned up. I'm going to put that fan shroud upstairs, and I'm going to get a bar, a couple of screws. Actually, there's one already there, which I'm not sure what that was for anymore. I wonder if I can hang them both right on there. I bet we can. They have a home. Yeah, that'll work. So anyway, I'll take that to go put up in the pile to go upstairs. There's other stuff over there that needs to go upstairs. But in just that quick little time, that's ready now to just, it's better. I've got crap over here from cleaning out my truck a while ago before we took the trip. I have to sort through that. I won't have time to do that today. I actually got a phone call just a little bit ago and I have to get on the road here. So I'm running out of time for today. Something came up. But first impressions are everything. And that's not just for other people. When you walk through the door of your shop, when I walk through the door of my shop, the first thing I see creates the emotions about how I feel being in that place. So right now, this area is not bad. It's certainly been a lot worse. But I have my welder hood shroud that needs to be hung up here, and I've got all kinds of. There's a box of trash there, and just a bunch of miscellaneous crap from all kinds of projects. And my welding bench is a disaster area right now because it's a flat surface, and people around here think that flat surfaces are the place to put everything, and I'm a people too. So I want to get this area cleaned up because when I walk in the shop, if I feel like the place is under control and not out of control, I want to be out here even more. So there's a couple other little tricks that I'm going to talk about. Understand that for many of us, this doesn't come easy and it is a process. So if you're one of those people like me that struggles with that organization, and some people don't, but like I said earlier on, I think more people struggle with it than don't. Because it's not just about getting it all organized, but it's also about keeping it organized. That's the bigger picture. And when you live an extremely busy life, that's really hard to keep things organized and keep things under control and still be able to accomplish anything. As I said, I can keep a very organized shop as long as I never work in it. But another thing that I'm learning, and this is a hard one for me, is containers, little containers to put things in, little totes. So, for example, I have a little container here that's got just a bunch of miscellaneous stuff that you need for the shop, like oil change stickers, and there's some electrical tape in there, and actually a couple hockey pucks, believe it or not, from another project that just got stuck in there. Those things used to be in a cabinet in another shop that I had, and they all just got put in that container. I know what's in that container. And so if I go, oh, I need an oil change sticker because I changed the oil in one of the cars, I know exactly where they're at. That may not be its permanent home, and I'm not even sure where to put the container right now, but at least it's contained. So think about it this way. If there was all kinds of miscellaneous crap laying here and you walk in that feels disorganized, if there's all kinds of miscellaneous crap in a small container, that feels completely different. And this is something that's taken me a while to learn. I've got containers under the bench there. I've got these totes here that each have different things in them that eventually need to be dealt with. I've got a container of electrical stuff down here that I need to deal with. Um, but it's a whole different thing to see a container than it is to see a pile of crap. The second thing, and I'm still figuring this one out, I'm still getting my mind wrapped around it. If your containers are clear, you can see through the side of the container to know what's in there at a glance. Oh, that's that container that has this, that, and the other thing in it. A lot of the big totes that I have are not clear. Those are longer term storage stuff, like all the internals out of the 413, for example, are in a couple of big red and black totes. So I know what those are. But other things I go, what's in there? Oh, that's all the dash components for A's and E bodies. I can see it right through the side of the container. I am not sitting here, as I said, sharing something that I've got figured out, and I'm not imparting this great wisdom to you as an expert on it. This is a day to day struggle for me in every single area of life. I hear people say, well, if everything has a place and you put everything in its place, you'll never be a problem. You know what? Bull. I hear you. But I think the second side of that, and this is something else that I'm dealing with is just have too much stuff. And I don't mean like projects and all that stuff, but I have up in the warehouse, which I'm working on organizing. We're actually going to be building a room up there with shelves in it and so forth to organize stuff. I have stuff up there that I know I will need for the golden mullet. There's no point in getting rid of that. When you have 12 projects going on or more, and half of those cars are apart, and then you have a whole warehouse full of extra stuff that you can go and peruse when you need something, there's a lot of stuff. Now, I have been selling off some stuff that I know absolutely at this point in my life, I just turned 57. I know I'm not ever going to need to use those things. So those are going to go in one special area of the sell stuff. We got a huge pile of charger parts that we're going to be selling. We got a guy interested. It's just a matter of me going and looking them all over one more time and saying, yeah, they are of the quality I think they are, and then making arrangements for him to get up here and pick all that stuff up. So that will help free up some space, definitely. Um, but everything having a place and everything in its place is great, but not everything does have a place. And I get overwhelmed not knowing where to make a place or have a place. Like the seats for the Challenger I've got in the back room, I'm fairly comfortable with that. I've got a lot of the duster seats over there in the corner. I don't dare put those things upstairs right now, because I know that the coon and the mice and the rats will just absolutely destroy them. So I need those things somewhere that I know those animals are not going to wreak havoc on them. That's the reality of living here on the homestead and working out of a 100-year-old barn.
Caution. The following video segment does contain intense emotions and some ranting. Proceed at your own risk.
I have had people, none of my friends, that's for sure, but I have had people come on the channel and tell them, well, you just got to do this and that and the other thing. I won't tell you the gesture I feel like sharing, but you can pretty much guess it. Is you don't have a clue, a clue what many of us really struggle with. And the moment you come on telling me you just gotta hit the road, Jack, I am not listening to anything you have to say because you're just an arrogant. I suppose some of that comes as a reaction to having been a counselor since the 90s, and I still do counseling, and seeing the well intended but absolutely devastating results of people coming in with boots and spurs and whipping and telling people what they need to be doing, what they should be doing, and what's the matter with you. And I have no tolerance for that self for other people, much less myself. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. It's not that I'm not teachable. I have no tolerance or no headspace for that absolutely arrogant, self righteous, ignorant attitude. Maybe well meaning, not saying it's not. So, yes, I will admit that I get reactionary to that, not only because of myself, but because of what I have seen happen in literally thousands and thousands of people that I've worked with who've had well meaning people come in like that. And they just don't have a clue of the devastation and the utter defeat and the burning coals that it heaps on those of us who really struggle with whatever we're struggling with. So I just want to recap the 3, 4 steps for today. Is deal with the trash first. Get rid of the trash. That can often be a big step forward. Then do the simple stuff, right? Do the simple stuff. Get the simple stuff put away. The stuff you know where its home is, you know where it belongs. Put that stuff away. A lot of times what I do here in the shop is at least get it. Like I have a lot of stuff sitting on the tray on my toolbox, and I can go over to the toolbox and go and put all that stuff away quickly. Then the next step is to deal with the more complicated things. Either put it in a bin or a box, a holding place, maybe get some containers to put things in, and then eventually you want to do what makes sense to create a space for that stuff. If you keep it simple, you're going to get it done. If you keep it simple, you're going to be able to maintain it. I was surprised that the lathe actually got in the condition it was, but considering what my life has been like, I do understand why. And I cut myself some slack there and say, this isn't the only thing I have going on in my life, for sure. All right. I don't know if you found this helpful. Nothing else, you can sit there and ridicule me for the struggles that I have in maintaining and keeping my shop organized, making it a fun place to be, making it a peaceful place to be, trying to keep it organized, and yet still being able to move forward on all the projects. I appreciate it. Drop your comments down there. I appreciate everything you guys have to say. And one more thing. Oh, yeah, like, share, subscribe, that, but don't forget. Rawr!